And we are live, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Irsolix, and welcome to PlayStation GL live coverage of Formula 5 for round number 2 of the F5 World Championship. We are here for the British Grand Prix. And thank you so much for everybody who's joining us live on the YouTube channel. We are very excited to be giving you this coverage of this race. We are now just getting into the short qualifying action here for Great Britain for the British Grand Prix. And again, my name is Irsolix. I'm going to be commentating this race for you all, ladies and gentlemen. As we are just loading up into the lobby right now. We're here at the Silverstone Circuit, a 5.9 mile long track, or 5.9 kilometer long track, 3.6 miles if you live in the States, of 18 turns with a lap record of 127.0 set by Max Verstappen in 2020 in the Red Bull Honda car. As we are just loading up now, the current configuration of the Silverstone track, made out of the old airfield, started in 2011 and has been since held from 2020 and now onward. As we are just getting ready for the beginning of short qualifying, which is going to be 18 minutes of non-stop action. Drivers allowed to set as many times as they want, go for as many runs as they want, for the ultimate goal of claiming pole position here today. As we're just loading up into the lobby now, the original Formula 1 Grand Prix, of course, the first race here in 1950, the start of the FIA Formula 1 World Championship. And there are all the drivers, 20 drivers on the grid: GeForce Swaggy XL, Gary BRT Mathias, Matt Tebos, Mark CP99, Lewis 11, Devin, JT Giletto, Dirtamo, Ollie, Little Romanino, VIL Velocity, QVR Cortez, VER Julez, Tim Wentick, VER Mike K, Brandon Glover, Michelizzi, MMA Slash, and Spaghetti Chips. Meanwhile, talking about Tim Wentick, we'll see if he's coming out of the pit lane, and he is in fact coming out of the pit lane. Tim Wentick, leader of the championship, currently in the driver's standings, leading by 16 points, ahead of Dirtamo, who's in second position with 12 points. 10 points for VER Mike K. Spaghetti Chips, who was probably not looking at a too good of a race when he started in qualifying, sitting fourth in the championship with 8 points. It's been a good start, though, however, for generally the Racing Point team, as they lead the Constructors' Championship with 20 points, ahead of Red Bull, Dirtamo, and Captain Kaki with 12 points, and Mercedes currently sitting third in the standings with 10 points. The defending Constructors champions, Williams, did not have a good start. 5 points only, with Brandon Glover and Ollie Flavlev running the Williams squad. Sixth in the Constructors Championship at the moment. But can Tim Wentick continue on? He gained pole position in the last race, won the Australian Grand Prix, and now heads on towards possibly trying to gain pole here in Britain. Though he wasn't too confident in the general chat and Discord. I am explicit at Britain. And that's all you need to know about that at the moment, as we're just getting ready for all the drivers to start their flying laps. It's go time here in short qualifying with just under 16 minutes left to go in the session. Tim Wentick coming into the chicane. We're going to ride on board of him for a few parts of the first lap. He goes on, coming into the final turn, and here we go. DRS activated as he comes towards turn number 1. There's no DRS in turn 1. My apologies, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not too familiar with the British track here. It's not one of my favorite tracks. I'm not very fast on it. As he's already got somebody in trouble that's ahead of him. That was a Williams. I believe that was Brandon Glover. Yes, it was. So hopefully Tim Wentick not too in trouble there. Now he can activate DRS, though, down the straight here, coming towards Brooklyn, as Tim Wentick looking to put himself on pole position here today. There is VER Mike K, who had a huge lockup, and another little bit of a lockup right there. Of course, as we mentioned, he sits third in the championship behind Dirtamo. Dirtamo's also on a lap of his own, and he is just actually starting his flying lap there in the Red Bull car. So we'll see how these three fare in the qualifying results here today. But Tim Wentick is flying through Maggins and Beckett's coming out of Chapel now before coming up onto the next DRS straight under the Aramco standing there. It used to be Aramco. There's been a few names of that company in the history that's been existing. As Tim Wentick now coming into the chicane. We'll see what the time's going to be set here by the Racing Point driver. Can he set a decent time here? We'll have to wait and see. Tim Wentick coming around the final turn, and the time is going to be nothing because it was an invalidation, which I probably hadn't realized. Actually, some times are being set now, so I'm going to get all of the lap data up here because I did not even notice. Can I get the track map up? He invalidated this lap as well. Okay, so he, apologies, I'm having a horrible start to the race here, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get everything going. Let's get the track map on. We want the telemetry disabled. There you go. That's everything you want to see. Currently, fastest time, though, is MMA Slash. He sits with a 124.5. Little Roman Nino, currently second position. Michelizzi is keeping up the Racing Point strong, though, with third at the moment in qualifying. Of course, Racing Point leaders in the constructors' standings at the moment. Dertamo actually sitting highest of the top three in fourth position. VER Mike K only able to muster ninth position, though. Currently highest up right now. Both of the Red Bulls looking strongest right now in qualifying, fourth and sixth, respectively. The Ferrari's also looking pretty strong. So are Renault, though. Of course, MMA Slash currently on provisional pole position. BRT Mathias sitting down in seventh. So they won't be too unhappy about that one. Gonna see if Tim Wentick is currently going for another lap. No, he is going into the pit lane. We'll see if he can get another lap connected come next time. Here's Brandon Glover. He's going to come across the line, go 11th fastest. Williams currently sitting 11th and 12th on the grid, so not too bad right now for them. Hopefully they can improve themselves up the standings a little bit further. Looking for a better result here today for the Williams outfit. Oh, let's get the detail for tires right there. Brandon Glover is actually the only driver currently setting a time on the medium tires. So pit lane getting busy here as most drivers are going back into the pit lane. Devin's going to set a lap now in the Haas car. He's going to go 10th fastest for the Haas team. Little Romanino, his teammate, currently sitting second fastest, so he's got a little bit of work to do if he wants to get a little bit closer to his teammate. VIL Velocity on a timed lap, well, actually on an out lap right now. It was showing time lap for a second there, I thought. In fact, he's one of the only drivers currently about to set a hot lap. Spaghetti Chips sitting all the way down in 20th without a time. Currently coming through Maggotts and Beckett's out of Chapel, back onto the DRS straight. And that's fastest in the second sector for Spaghetti Chips. So looking pretty strong right now on this current lap. Can Spaghetti Chips, who had a driver of the day performance in F5, finishing fourth after going all the way down at the bottom, near the bottom of the racetrack at the start of the last race. Now coming around the final turn, this is going to be a good lap, and it is going to be best for seventh at the moment. So a nice lap from the Alfa Romeo driver right there, sitting P7. Not a bad lap time at all from him. There's about 11 minutes left to go in the session. You are watching Formula 5 coverage live from the PlayStation GL Xbox GL YouTube channel, presented by Brutal Democracy. As we are just getting underway with the rest of qualifying here, getting towards the race. And MMA Slash is currently your man on provisional pole position, currently on an outlap right now. And if we can go towards Tim Wentick, who is on a outlap again, down at the bottom right there without a time. Riding on board of Velocity here. He's about to finish up his lap. And now he's not going to, because it's going to be an invalidation. I thought it was valid right there, but nonetheless, VIL Velocity is going to come around again, and it looks like he may try to go for another lap. No, probably not, with a very little ERS to play with. So a pit stop for him with about 9 minutes left to go in the session. It's a little late in the session right now, so Velocity is not in the best of positions right now to get further up the grid. BR Mike K, pretty low down the order right there. On an out lap right now, though. He only sits 13th fastest on the grid, so not looking too good right now for him. He's going to definitely want to improve that time if he has any hopes of keeping up the championship fight. As we mentioned, Mercedes currently sitting third in the Constructors. Both Mercedes, though, are out of the points right now as it stands in qualifying. Both Williams also out of the points currently as it stands in qualifying. But times are now starting again. Here is Tim Wentick going for another lap there in the Racing Point car. We'll see how he handles this lap and if he can keep it within the track limits. I'm going to try to get my mic situated back there. There we go. I can hear everything now on both sides of my ears. As we see the DRS flap open right there, increasing the top end speed by about 20 kilometers an hour. As fastest in the first sector goes Tim Wentick on that soft compound tire. A little bit of a wiggle from the front end of the car, complaining a little bit right there. But so far, not a bad lap. Now coming into Cobbs, pretty much flat, as you'd expect. Now going to come into Maggins and Beckett's. Let's see how he handles this part of the track. Oh, no, he's got QVR Cortez in front of him, who was kind of sitting, idling in the middle of Maggins and Beckett's right there, out of Cobbs. And I don't know if that's going to affect Tim's time. We're going to see he was not fastest in the second sector. But QVR Cortez in a bit of an awkward moment right there on his outlap. As an AlphaTauri gets out of the way there, here comes Tim, about to come around the final turn. Let's see if he can grab a top 5 right here. No, only best for 14th. And there might be some frustration and maybe even a complaint from the Racing Point driver there, as we're only 7.5 minutes left in qualifying to go, and Tim's going to have to go back into the pit lane and go for one more. But an issue with the Alfa Romeo of Cortez. Just wrong place, wrong time. But Cortez might get slapped with a qualifying infringement penalty. If in fact he was deemed to be blocking right there. And we have a new pole leader right now. It's Little Romanino. It's quite hard to follow with 20 cars in qualifying. I do apologize. I do miss these things sometimes. Both of the Ferraris sitting 3rd and 4th, with both of the Red Bulls 5th and 6th. So Ferrari looking pretty strong here in Silverstone. Both Red Bulls looking strong as well. And BRT Mathias still sitting in 7th on the grid, though, as he's trying to set another quick lap here. Well, actually, he's not. He's not using any ERS, and it looks like he just didn't have the best lap time on his second go-around. Michelizzi on an outlap. So we'll see what he can do when he gets around for his next flying lap. QVR Cortez now is on a lap, as that might have been, Tim Wentick going into the pit lane. QVR Cortez about to come around the final turn right here, and we're going to see what he can do. Comes around the final turn and will go 11th fastest, goes ahead of his teammate Spaghetti Chips, who is down now in 12th position. So Cortez sets a decent lap time, puts him about middle of the grid, just behind Michelizzi, who is on his outlap going through Maggots and Beckett's and about to exit out of Chapel towards the DRS straight. About under 6 minutes left in qualifying. The final laps are about to begin for a lot of the drivers here, and we're going to see really who can grab pole. There is Lewis, who is on an in-lap. He currently sits 5th. JT Giletto also 6th. So nice little Constructors lineup right here. Ferrari sitting nicest for the Constructors in terms of qualifying positions. AlphaTauri right behind them, and VER Juez and Dirtamo currently sitting 7th and 8th for the Red Bull team. So it's a nice little order right there for Constructors. Little Romanino, though, holding it up for Haas in pole position provisionally at the moment, and MMA Slash sitting 2nd provisionally at the moment. There is Michelizzi coming to the end of the DRS straight, and he has gone a little bit faster, a personal best in the first sector. We'll see if he can continue to improve as the lap goes on. Riding on board with the Racing Point driver, a little bit of difficulty getting on the power right there, coming out of Brooklyn as he's about to come into Cobbs. And flat through Cobbs, right on the line right there. That was nearly an invalidation, and the rear definitely complained right there as he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's as he comes out at Chapel now, putting back on the power right on the edge right there on the curb, using it beautifully there. It's not a huge improvement, though, only a couple hundredths of a second faster through the second sector, but it is still an improvement nonetheless. The times are very close here in the 124s, moving up towards pole position. A 124.0 currently held by Little Romanino as Michelizzi coming around the penultimate and then the final turn. There comes the Racing Point car, and it is going to be sixth fastest and an improvement on his time, 124.297, best for sixth for Racing Point. And he'll be pretty happy with that one, I'd say. And here are the final runnings starting now. Tim Wentic on an outlap as he's on the old start-finish line there at Silverstone. And Tim Wentic will be looking for a reversal of fortunes after getting caught up with Cortez on his last lap. We're going to wait and see if he can improve and get a better time on the board. Currently sitting 17th, not where he would like to start in this race. VIL Velocity all the way down in 20th on a invalidated outlap, I believe. Because I believe he will be saving up. No, he must have invalidated through Maggots and Beckett's right there because he was using up a lot of his ERS, so he will have to go back into the pit lane. Pretty much looks like it, and he is going to be pretty much done with qualifying. A pretty dismal performance right there for him, only sitting 20th, and that is not where he wanted to have his time, and Michelizzi cuts across him and goes into the pit lane before him. And the pit lane is busy, ladies and gentlemen. Multiple cars coming out, both AlphaTauris, the Haas, and Mercedes right there, and a Ferrari coming out of the pit lane, and McLaren behind him. Pit lane is busy. Tim Wentic has started his lap. DRS flap opens and now closes coming into Brooklands, and it is a little slower in the first sector, so not able to match his first sector time right there. We're going to see if there is an improvement in Maggots and Beckett's. I don't necessarily know if he let up on the gas a little bit, given maybe a little scare of hitting Cortez. Of course, that's the last thing you want to do. That's a 5-place grid penalty if you make contact with another driver in qualifying, and it definitely would have been in that case very severely for Wentic as he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's now, and we're going to see the Sector 2 time if it's an improvement, and it is a slower time by 1.7 seconds. So unless he's going to go for another one, it looks like he is going to go for another one. So Tim Wentic not happy with this lap. He's going to go for one more with about a minute and a half left to go. This is going to be the final chance for Wentic to improve his time. VER Mike K, meanwhile, has gone up to 4th fastest, so looking good right there. Dertamo sitting down in 10th. He is on an outlap and is about to actually begin his flying lap, so we'll see how Dertamo gets underway here in qualifying. As he's coming around the penultimate turn and then the final turn, Dertamo begins his flying lap here at Great Britain. Wentic on one more lap as well. Here comes the Sector 1 split, and it is again slower by about a 1/10 of a second for Tim Wentic, not able to match that previous Sector 1 time. Riding on board of him. Oh, and it's another invalidation for Tim Wentic here at the end of qualifying, and that is it. 17th for the winner of the Australian Grand Prix here in qualifying, and that is not good for the Racing Point squad. He is not going to be happy with himself after a absolute reversal here in qualifying for him. Very disappointing for Tim Wentic. Here is Dertamo, still valid on this lap, though. It looks like he's gone a little bit. Going to see if he might go a little bit slower here in Sector 2, as there was a yellow flag. I don't know if he had to make an avoidance of a driver, but here he comes at the end of Sector 2. It's just a little bit faster. BRT Mathias has gone on pole position here, provisionally here at the end of qualifying. Gonna ride on board of Dertamo, though. Can he make an improvement here enough in the third sector to get himself on pole position? It's a lot of time to make up in the third sector as he's coming around the penultimate turn and then the final turn. Can he get ahead of Mike K? Yes, he can. He goes fifth fastest, so very good for the Red Bull outfit. Fourth and fifth, respectively, for Dertamo. MMA Slash has stolen back pole position by and look that into the 123s. The only driver into the 123s by about 0.2 of a second. BRT Mathias thought he had it. MMA Slash said no thank you, and G-Force Swaggy goes second fastest, also into the 123s. Mathias down to third, but it's a Renault 1-3 in qualifying right there. A very good time from MMA Slash, though, has secured him pole position, unless Brendan Glover, the last driver to set a time here. Can he improve enough? No, and puts Wentic down to 18th, and Wentic all the way down near the bottom of the racetrack. It is really an opposite day for him after that amazing start to the season in Australia, and it's not looking good for both Racing Points as Michelizzi, it will start 13th on the grid. So bad days if you are a Racing Point driver. Both Mercedes also out, though, in qualifying, outside the top 10 at least. Mike K in 11th and 14th for Mark, so not good for them. Red Bull looking strong, though. Remember, they sit second in the Constructors with 12 points. And Ver Jules, who's driving right now for Captain Cocky as a reserve, a very nice drive for him, 7th and 8th respectively. Jules, who was very, very excited in the chat to be racing today, has put in a good show as he beats his teammate Dertamo, who has the full-time seat here at the Red Bull team. Little Romanino all the way down in 5th. He was looking strong in qualifying, but just couldn't keep up with the pace of the drivers ahead of him. JT Giletto goes up to 4th, but it is MMA Slash who gets it on pole position here today. And it is a good result there for Renault as they sit 9th in the Constructors' Championship. There's the order there in qualifying. MMA Slash on pole position. G-Force Swaggy in 2nd. BRT Mathias making it a 1-3 for the Renault boys. JT Toledo in 4th position. Little Romanino in 5th. Lewis in 6th position. Jules in 7th. 8th for Dertamo. 9th for XL Gary. Devin in 10th position, rounding off the top 10. VR Mike K in 11th. Spaghetti Chips in 12th. Michelizzi in 13th position. Mark C in 14th position. 15th for Matt Tebows. 16th for QVR Cortez. Brendan Glover in 17th. Tim Wentic in 18th. 19th for Ollie Favlev. That's a name I'm not going to try to pronounce further. I'm just going to say Ollie, ladies and gentlemen. And Velocity, unfortunately, going to be starting at the back of the grid, 1.3 seconds off of pole position. Not the type of qualifying he would have liked to have had today. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. That was qualifying, and it's time for the British Grand Prix. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody. Currently live on the YouTube channel. You're watching live coverage from PlayStation GL and Xbox GL for the Formula 5 World Championship. It's round number 2 here in Great Britain at the Silverstone track for the British Grand Prix. And it is MMA Slash who has gotten himself on pole position here today. And it is a reversal of fortunes for the Renault team today. A 1-3 in qualifying, looking for a good result here today to boost them up in the Constructors' Championship. Racing Point not looking good as well, though, as it is Tim Wentic who will start 18th on the grid, and I believe Michelizzi starting 11th on the grid, so it was not the qualifying they would have liked to have had. Red Bull, though, looking strong in qualifying, and Mercedes also not looking too good, though. VR Mike K and Mark C not able to make it into the top 10. There is that singular red light that comes on, and here we go. It is the beginning of the formation lap, and it is MMA Slash who starts on pole position. G-Force Swaggy will start second, with BRT Matthias again making it a 1-3 for the Renault outfit. JT Giletto will start fourth, and Little Romanino will start fifth. Lewis on the soft tire will start sixth position, with VER Gilles, a reserve driver for the first time here in Formula 5, starts in P7 with Dertamo in P8. XL Gary will start P9, with Devin rounding off the top 10 for the Haas team. It is VER Mike K starting on the medium tire in 11th, 12th on the medium tire for Spaghetti Chips. Michelizzi on the medium tires in 13th position, so starting 13th on the grid. Mark C starting 14th on the grid on the medium tire. Matt Tebos on the mediums in 15th. Cortez in 16th on the mediums. Brandon Glover 17th on the medium tire. Tim Wentick starts on the soft compound tire in 18th position. An interesting choice right there, given how far back he is. And Ollie will start 19th on the mediums, with Velocity down in 20th. A little bit of a wiggle from the back end there, not doing too well on the formation lap. We'll start on the mediums. And there again is MMA Slash. And that is your grid order, ladies and gentlemen, for the British Grand Prix. As all the drivers are getting their tires warmed up, it is big-time feels. A lot of drivers here today looking for a home Grand Prix victory. For most drivers, a lot of the drivers in PSGL residing in the UK looking for a home win. We'll see if they can get it today. It's the British Grand Prix. It's Formula 5. And it's time to get underway. Getting ready for those 5 red lights. There is MMA Slash lining up on his pole position slot. G-Force Swaggy alongside him in the Ferrari. A nice position for his start here in the race. As the final car approaching the grid, Velocity it is. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Getting ready for those 5 red lights for the start of round number 2 of the championship. And just waiting for those red lights to start coming on. And it's 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And the lights are out, and away we go here in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. And it's been a good start from MMA Slash, as he's going to get ahead of G-Force Swaggy coming into turn 1. G-Force Swaggy under pressure from BRT Matthias, but he keeps second position for the moment. And we're going to ride on board of Matthias as he has a big lockup, and in fact gets passed by Little Romanino on the inside coming into the turn there. And now Matthias getting under pressure from Lewis, as Lewis is going to pass him. JT Giletto behind him as well might put him under pressure. So BRT Matthias with a pretty poor start here in the Grand Prix, as he sits all the way down, as he gets passed now by again, it looks like Lewis. He's still battling with Lewis there, and now Lewis actually behind him. It's JT Giletto who was still having the battle with Matthias, but MMA Slash leading this Grand Prix. Tim Wentick with a good start. We have a spin, and it's Cortez all the way down in P20. A bad start for the Alfa Romeo driver, and it's Tim Wentick though who has made a good start behind his teammate now Michelizzi in 14th position, and he's gone ahead of both McLarens. So we'll see how he makes it on way through the race. So, and it's a single file line right now. No safety car deployed on the first lap, even after that spin from Cortez. But MMA Slash leads it from G-Force Swaggy, Little Romanino in second position. We have a side-by-side battle right there. Looks like Devin was trying to go on the inside of XL Gary on the Ferrari. And on the inside, a big dive bomb from the Haas driver. And XL Gary trying to defend as much as he can. Gary actually gets a 3-second time penalty already. And that is not what he'll like to see right there, as he's falling behind Devin. And we're seeing some ghosting start to occur. And MMA Slash has gone fastest in this race so far, as we have a big update right here, as the scoreboard is not working as it should. But nonetheless, MMA Slash is your leader in this British Grand Prix. G-Force Swaggy behind him. There is your pit stop strategy. Soft to medium tire or soft to hard strategy. Of course, you'll start you'll stop about the same time for the softs, of course. Do you go on to the mediums or do you go on to the hards? It seems the mediums will be the predicted strategy for most drivers. Should just be a one-stop today. We'll see how they decide to go about it. And as I catch myself, a little bit of a breather right there, we begin lap number 2 as they're coming through Maggots and Beckett's here. You're watching F5 from PlayStation GL and Xbox GL. It's the British Grand Prix, and MMA Slash leads this British Grand Prix after gaining pole position in qualifying. G-Force Swaggy keeps second position. Little Romanino up to third position. Lewis up to fourth. And it's actually JT Giletto who has dropped down to sixth position behind BRT Mathias. He has VER Gilles, and it's Devin who's side by side of Dirtamo now. And Devin has been making some big moves here so far in this race, trying to go up on the outside of Dirtamo. Wasn't going to work in that chicane, but now XL Gary looks to put on the pressure for the Haas driver coming into turn 1. He is looking for an avenue to make a pass, and he's getting very, very close to the back of the Haas driver, but he'll keep it behind him for the moment. Maybe looking for him to make a mistake in this race, but is the only driver right now with a penalty so far here in the race. MMA Slash extending his advantage in the lead right there with about 7/10 of a second coming into Brooklyn. So MMA Slash controlling the lead so far, but it is lap number 3. DRS has now been enabled in this race, so we're going to see if we can see some better passing in the race. G-Force Swaggy falling behind Little Romanino in third position. Lewis in fourth position with Mathias down in fifth position. Like we said, not a great start for Mathias. Currently was sitting third at the start of the race. Has been passed by Little Romanino and Lewis, and now down in fifth. JT Toledo falling behind in fifth position. There's a little bit of grass being kicked up by one of the Red Bull cars, and Dirtamo now might be under pressure from Devin. Devin's going to move to the inside line coming into the turn here. It's going to give him a bit of a squeeze, and it's a textbook inside move from from Devin and on Dirtamo, and Devin is up to 8th position. So a good start for the Haas driver here, all the way up to 8th position now, and he is just moving along in this race. Lewis has gone fastest in this race, currently sitting 4th position, about half a second back from Little Romanino. And we're going to start seeing some more moves as DRS has been activated. We're going to ride on board with G-Force Swaggy. Of course, MMA Slash, the driver most at difficulties here at this stage of the race, as he does not have anybody ahead of him, and he is defenseless with this DRS. As you can see, G-Force Swaggy able to catch up a few tenths of a second on the Renault driver there. So MMA Slash is going to have to eke out all the performance out of this car today if he expects to keep that lead with the attack from G-Force Swaggy. Riding on board of Devin, about a second out of 7th position. And VER Gilles has kept his qualifying position in this race. He's now following JT Giletto, and Mark C now picks up a penalty, the second driver to pick up a penalty in this race, and I expect to see a few more, especially through Maggots and Beckett's and out of Chapel. A predictable place to make a cut if you're not too careful. Riding on board of Swaggy, getting close, and we're going to, oh, look at this. We might see XL Gary possibly make a move, and no, he was just a little bit too far back on Dirtamo, and XL Gary will stick to 10th for the moment. So a single file line starting to form here, a bit of a DRS train here at this British Grand Prix, lap number 5 of 26. Not a long race here at Britain. We'll see if we move along smoothly with no safety cars. Safety cars are a bit of a rarity here I've seen so far in Silverstone. There's not a whole lot of places realistically where you can crash into the wall. A lot of runoff and grass in this track. So I expect to see a rather clean race in terms of no safety cars or VSCs. But nonetheless, MMA Slash does lead this British Grand Prix from G-Force Swaggy. And a little bit of chat cheer for VER, and VER Gilles is currently sitting 7th position. Still chasing down JT Giletto, about 7/10 back from him. BRT Mathias still sitting in 5th position. It's just been not able to make up any pace on Lewis, who continues to close down the gap on Little Romanino. Riding on force with G-Force Swaggy. Not able to get close enough for an overtake. He sits still in 2nd position, looking for an avenue to make a pass. The soft tires will be coming near the end of their lifespan, and they're going to get a little bit faster near the end of their lifespan if we see lockups like that from G-Force Swaggy. as he continues to follow MMA Slash as we begin lap number 6 of this Grand Prix. Riding on board of Devin, half a second now. He's caught up to XBGL, so Devin is rapid right now in this race. He's passed a couple of cars so far already in the race on some very daring moves, and now Devin is looking to pass XBGL and put himself up into 7th position. Continuing to follow behind the Red Bull driver. We've seen some very late dives from him. We may see it again here on Gilles, as Gilles has struggles coming out of Brooklands. Coming onto the old start finish line. We'll keep on with this battle, but let's ride on board of Lewis, because he's getting very, very close to the back of Little Romanino and the Haas right there. Riding on board of him, now following him through Maggots and Beckett's, and Little Romanino looking to struggle a little bit, coming out of Chapel now. Nice exit for Lewis, as Little Romanino, a little bit of a complaint from the rear end, and G-Force Swaggy just is not able to close the gap enough to possibly make an overtake on any of these DRS locations. MMA Slash really doing well in this race, really able to keep up the momentum and keep himself in the lead. It's crucial that he does so in this pit stop strategy. Let's keep on board with Lewis here. About 2/10 back from Little Romanino. Little Romanino struggling on that soft compound tires, currently sitting 3rd on the grid, but maybe not for much longer as Lewis continues to eke out the gap. Ooh, but a little bit of a lockup right there, a bit of a mistake. G-Force Swaggy has caught up a bit now, 0.4 of a second. This might be the opportunity for G-Force now on this lap, if he can keep up the momentum to possibly make a move. Michelizzi, he's left the session. Was there a disconnect? He's currently sitting down in 16th. His teammate Tim Wentic currently sitting 12th. He's made up some positions in this race, and now he's looking to make a move on VER Mike K, who currently sits 3rd in the championship. But both of them outside of the points at the moment. Lewis unable to make a move. 0.4 back from Little Romanino. G-Force Swaggy, though, has caught up to MMA Slash, but he loses it a little bit coming out of Chapel. Back onto DRS. He's not using a lot of ERS down the straight, and he just is a little bit too far back. Michelizzi has joined back in on the race, but of course he has now lost a bountiful amount of positions. QVR Cortez picks up a penalty and actually passes Michelizzi. So Michelizzi hasn't been able to get back into his car just yet. And here comes Brandon Glover now passing him, and Michelizzi is now down all the way in 20th position. And some pit stops now. MMA Slash goes into the pit lane, and he is the first of the leaders to enter the pit lane, and he will put on the medium compound tire as we expect. A one-stop strategy for the soft compound tire runners to go onto the mediums till the end of this race. Lots of pit stops now. Tim Wentic into the pit lane, and that goes Michelizzi back up into 16th position, and he is back into his car, so good for him. And he can continue on the fight. G-Force Swaggy stays out one more lap, but we do expect G-Force Swaggy to react and get himself back up into a general position. We'll see if he can keep the lead of the race. He's got to put in a really, really good in-lap here to keep the lead, possibly. I don't have any gaps on the side, so I do apologize, ladies and gentlemen, that my game is just not giving me the information that I desire. But we'll see whether or not G-Force Swaggy does in fact keep the lead of this British Grand Prix. Little Romanino behind him, Lewis in 3rd position, Matthias in 4th position. All these soft tire runners will most likely react to this pit stop. Would be a little foolish not to do so. There comes G-Force, there comes Nino, and Lewis does not react. He stays out, so Lewis is going to become the leader of this race. But G-Force Swaggy has now made his pit stop, so we're going to see whether or not Swaggy, who will go on to presumably the medium compound tire, if he keeps the lead. We got to get back to the leader, which was MMA Slash. Where is MMA Slash? He currently sits right there in 17th. There's still a few drivers who have not pitted yet. Of course, they started on those medium compound tires. G-Force Swaggy right there still in the pit lane. MMA Slash, he's coming towards the turn 1, and he has gone ahead of G-Force Swaggy. Out of the pit lane he comes. BRT Matthias comes out of the pit lane, and he is behind Jules, who has made his stop as well, and this has not been the kind of pit stop he was looking for. Devin behind him, but more importantly, G-Force Swaggy is behind MMA Slash, so MMA Slash has made his pit stop strategy work for him. He sits in provisionally the lead of the race. Of course, he does have to wait for these medium tire runners to make their pit stops unless he can battle through the pack. Now, Lewis, JT Giletto, and XL Gary are the only drivers still on the soft tires not to have reacted to those pit stops, but Lewis reacts. JT Giletto preferably doesn't react, as he doesn't want to have a double stack in the pit lane. XL Gary does react, though. VER Mike K is going to take second position in this British Grand Prix. How long it will live, we will have to wait and see. How high will he stay after his pit stop? We'll have to wait and see. And coming out of the pit lane, Lewis is going to put on the medium compound tire. Spaghetti Chips is up to third. He has not made his pit stop, of course, yet, as he started way down the order on the medium tires, so we'll see how he does after his pit stop. But JT Giletto, is he keeping it a little too long out on track, as he currently sits in first position, and Lewis meanwhile does not get ahead of G-Force Swaggy in the pit stops battle. So G-Force Swaggy won it over Lewis. MMA Slash still provisionally in the lead of the race, in my opinion. I don't believe JT Giletto is going to be able to make a pit stop and effectively keep the lead of the race. I think he's just kept it out a little bit too long. Probably should have reacted on that first lap. We're going to have to wait and see nonetheless. JT Giletto is coming towards the end of the lap. Does he make his pit stop now? And we'll see where he ends up. Apologies, ladies and gentlemen, a little bit of a tickle from the back. And there goes JT Giletto into the pit lane for the AlphaTauri drivers. And there goes VER Mike K into the lead of the British Grand Prix. Spaghetti Chips in second, Mark C in third. Where does JT Giletto come out? MMA Slash is now coming around the final turn, and he is going to swear this is going to be actually rather close, possibly. Actually, probably not. No, MMA Slash is going to pass JT Giletto. He actually gets passed by his teammate and gets passed by G-Force Swaggy, and then gets passed by Matthias, gets passed by Jules, and oh my goodness, this has been a complete disaster for JT Giletto. He has lost a bundle amount of positions. And really, as I said, probably shouldn't have stayed out as long as he did. A rather clumsy mistake on the pit stop strategy there from JT Giletto, and he is going to be kicking himself right there, as the AlphaTauri drivers now rather split, with Lewis actually ahead of G-Force Swaggy now. He's made the pass on the Ferrari driver, and that is not what G-Force Swaggy would have wanted. Now Lewis setting his sights on MMA Slash. There is still technically a battle for the lead of the race here. Oh, he might be looking at a pass on the inside of the McLaren driver. What a move! And the McLaren of Velocity is right behind him, and he actually pushes him a little wide after giving a bit of him a bump on the diffuser right there. Another bump. He bumps him again. There's contact up and down between these two drivers. But Ollie, with a great move on the inside, puts himself up into fifth position. Again, this is all without pit stops, so this is crucial for all these drivers of where their track position is when they in fact decide to make their pit stops. It's unclear, of course, starting on the mediums, when they may decide to do so. It should be coming up rather soon, though, I'd imagine. MMA Slash still in the lead. G-Force Swaggy now following closely behind Lewis. And VER Jules closely behind BRT Matthias. Going to ride on board of G-Force Swaggy here. as he is chasing down Lewis in the AlphaTauri. Lewis 1.1 seconds back from MMA Slash, has not been able to keep up the pace with the Renault driver there. MMA Slash looking for his first win of the season so far, and it's looking like a pretty strong performance for the Renault boys. First and fourth after the pit stops from the rest of the medium tire runners. VR Mike Hayes still keeping the lead of the race. And when are we going to see pit stops from the medium tire drivers? Still without a pit stop yet. Spaghetti Chips keeps second position so far. Mike C in third. Matt Tebos in fourth position. And there's a pass, and it's QBR, it's actually a pit stop for the first medium tire runner. It's Velocity, who goes into the pit lane, and I assume is going to go into the hard compound tire till the end of this race. So, no, he's going to put on the softs. We'll see if that works. It's going to be a little risky for Velocity to go into the softs till the end on lap 13. I don't know if that's the wisest decision. He's going to definitely have some troubles, but he goes back to the bottom of the track, and he is going to be rather far behind XL Gary, so we'll see if he can make up some positions, but more importantly, keep those tires alive till the end of the race. It's going to be a bit of a stretch, to say the least. Riding back here, let's see, with Lewis. Lewis is getting very close to MMA Slash. G-Force Swaggy also pretty close to Lewis. VER Jules in his reserve race trying to catch up to BRT Matthias and get his Red Bull team a few more points as we still await the majority of the medium tire runners to make their pit stops. Now, do they actually react to the pit stop there from Velocity? It doesn't look like many of the leaders are. His teammate doesn't, so no, it doesn't look like any of the medium tire runners. Not one reaction from Cortez. So we do have one pit stop in for Cortez, but that is it for the medium tire runners. So they definitely believe it's a little too early to be looking at a pit stop. But he will come into the pit lane, and he is going to put on the soft compound tire. Yes, he will. Again, we'll see if those last till the end, but it will be a little bit better for sure than Velocity. And MMA Slash under a lot of pressure. He's got Lewis behind him. G-Force Swaggy a little bit further back. VER Jules in the wings waiting. BRT Matthias has nobody ahead of him. 2.8 seconds, that gap. That's not going to help him in the DRS train battle right now. But Lewis just ain't able to get a position possible to make a move here and put himself into the provisional lead of the race when the pit stops do occur for the medium tire runners. So it's a battle of fruition right now. Lewis is getting rather close here, and Mags and Beckett's though. MMA Slash may have made a mistake, but now some dirty air coming from the back here, and now puts on the overtake, and here we go. This could be the move for the lead of the race. Lewis is going to look to the inside lane, and a move on the inside, and Lewis takes the lead away from MMA Slash, and that is a big move for Lewis. Can MMA Slash respond? A big lockup from him into the chicane there, as he's going to try to see if he can keep back and make another move on Lewis, but Lewis with a big move, and Ollie Flavel goes into the pit lane to make his pit stop onto the soft compound tire. So you should start to see those medium tire runners now start to make their pit stops, as it's a little more feasible now for that soft tire to make it till the end of the race. But Lewis with a very nice move near the end of the lap, and he has taken himself into the lead here provisionally after pit stops from those drivers in front. And MMA Slash is now going to have some pressure from G-Force Swaggy, who has still been looking to get ahead of the Renault driver all race long. BRT Matthias 3.1 seconds back. VR Jules, meanwhile, has actually lost time to Matthias, and now he's got his teammate Dirtamo behind him, putting some pressure on him. Haas drivers are sitting 13th and 14th respectively in this race. Devin ahead of Little Romanino, though, and Devin may be looking for a pass on Dirtamo, though. And look how close he is. He's about 3/10 back. He's going to put on some overtake. He does not have a lot of ERS to play with, though. Dirtamo getting close to VER Jules. Jules just not able to keep up the pace. And now we see a lot of pit stops from the top leaders here. T-Bose and Mark C continue on forwards. But let's see now MMA Slash and Lewis. So Lewis should be going up towards the lead of the race now. He will come out and be fourth at the moment. Michelizzi, T-Bose, and Mark C still have not yet made pit stops in this race. And look at this, Dirtamo really putting the pressure on his teammate here. Are we going to be seeing a little bit of inter-team battling, or are they going to be a little nicer to each other? I'll have to wait and see. They do sit second in the Constructors' Championship, so they might look to be a little more cautious of each other. But here we go. Looks to be a move possibly on the outside, and ooh, contact between the Red Bull drivers, and that was a front wing to rear tire from Dirtamo to Jules. So the gloves are coming off at the Red Bull here today, and they have to be a little careful here. They do not want to have problems with their teammates. Both Haas drivers are getting close together as well, so they have to be careful there. But Dirtamo with a risky touch with Jules, and that could have sent Jules spinning round and his race pretty much over. As we are just about a decade away from the end of this race. And it is Lewis who leads this race as Michelizzi goes into the pit lane, and Velocity is retired from the session. And he is retired on track, actually, looks like right there. Then not stopping the pit lane. That's a virtual safety car. Did he have a crash? He may have had a crash. Not too sure. Did not see the incident there. So have to wait and see whether or not Velocity had the crash. He leaves the session. I do not know if, in fact, he retired in the pit lane, but there is a virtual safety car in this race deployed. So that is one driver out of this race, and Lewis has, in fact, taken the lead now of this British Grand Prix. MMA Slash behind him, G4 Swaggy sitting third, BRT Matthias in fourth, both Red Bulls fifth and sixth. And he's keeping rather close to him as and oh no, Brandon Glover with a drive-through penalty sitting last, and that's not what he wanted. Dirtamo got a pretty good restart there on Jules on that VSC restart, and now he's looking to possibly make a pass. He's getting pretty close to Jules towards Maggots and Beckett's, and that's not the place you want to be making the pass, I must say. But he is getting very close to his teammate. They need to stay nice of each other, though. They want to keep up that Constructors' battle for sure. They should take the lead of it coming into this race, after this race, as both Racing Points pretty much out of it, with Tim Wentic only in 9th position. But no passes yet for the Red Bull drivers, at least on each other. MMA Slash, a bit of a lockup behind Lewis. G4 Swaggy also pretty close to MMA Slash right now, but Lewis is going to have a lot of pressure on him to keep the lead of this race. 5/10 ahead of MMA Slash. G4 Swaggy sits in third position, a little bit closer behind. A little bit of a lockup looked like from the Renault driver there. A lockup from the Ferrari. And I'm hearing a bit of redlining from somebody's car. And Tim Wentic has made a pass on the inside of Devin up into 8th position. So Wentic makes a nice move, puts himself up into 8th. Looking to have a bit of a recovery drive here, starting near dead last in this race. He's put himself up to 7th position. So it's been a good start for him. And VER Jules is currently sitting in 5th position. What a great start to his PSGL F5 career. Dirtamo behind. We'll see if he can make a pass on his teammate. He's rather close to his teammate, about 2/10 back. And Jules with a little bit of issues from the front end of the car, looking a little pointed right there. And Jules falling behind. Dirtamo getting rather close. Is he going to make a move on the inside? He's getting very close. He breaks as late as possible, but he's not able to make the move. So for now, Gilles stays ahead. MMA Slash still falling behind Lewis. G-Force Swaggy sets the fastest lap for the Scuderia Ferrari team right here, as Slash is having trouble, and Slash almost gives room on the inside for G-Force Swaggy, almost inviting him to make a move on the inside right there, but he did not take the bait, and he will stay behind for the moment, but now he may be under a lot of pressure. MMA Slash should not get a good exit there. MMA Slash, though, making up a lot of time on Lewis. Remember, he still has DRS range on him, but Lewis keeps the lead. G-Force Swaggy stays in third position. No passes for the Red Bull drivers. Mark C is making a move on Giletto, and in fact has made the move on Giletto. Giletto with a lockup. Devin now looking to make a pass on XL Gary. He's lost some positions in this race and is now behind XL Gary in 10th position, as XL Gary is chasing down Wentic, looking to put himself up into 8th position. Wentic 2 seconds back from Little Romanino. Can he make it up into 7th as the recovery drive continues for him at least? And here comes MMA Slash. He's going to make a move on the inside. He gets very close, but he's not able to make the move. So he stays second for the moment. XL Gary has made the move on Tim Wentic. Tim Wentic makes the switch back on the inside, and now he's got to deal with Devin on the outside. They're going to get very, very close, almost banging wheels right there. And look at this. He pushes the Ferrari wide, and Devin makes the move. And now XL Gary might have to deal with Mark C, who is very, very close to him. Here comes XL Gary, though. He's getting very, very close to Devin. He's going to make a dive on the inside. He looks on the inside, but Devin closes the door on him. And that was getting a little cheeky. And a dive on the inside from Mark. And there's contact now. And now the AlphaTauri of Giletto's trying to get involved. Some very, very close racing down for the last point of this race. And XL Gary fighting for his life right now. Tim Wentic, meanwhile, splits both Haas drivers. And Dertamo is backed up a little bit from his teammate, it looks like, but now he's got to deal with Little Romanino behind him. What a battle for 10th position this has become. Michelizzi sitting in 16th position. This has just not been the race he was hoping for. His teammate on a much better drive, and it's going to be a very tough battle for the constructors after this one. Poor performance so far, and there's an off. And it's JT Giletto who's had an off in Maggots and Beckett's. And JT Giletto, who is having a pretty decent race, now go all the way down in 18th position with just a few more laps left to go in this race. We're on lap 21 of 26 in this British Grand Prix, and Lewis is your leader. MMA Slash in second. G-Force Swaggy following in third position. MMA Slash is getting very, very close to making a move on Lewis, and Lewis having major problems in Sector 1 right now. And here comes MMA Slash, and there is a retirement for JT Giletto right there. And getting close, coming towards Brooklands, but MMA Slash decides against the move, a little bit too far back, but he will look towards the next DRS straight. After Maggots and Beckett's and Chapel, can MMA Slash take the lead of this race? Dertamo has made the move on his teammate, VER Gilles, and he puts himself up into 5th position. Now VER Gilles has to deal with Little Romanino, but can Gilles make a counterattack onto his teammate? VER Mike K makes the pass. They're side-by-side, Mark C and VER Mike K getting very, very close, and VER Mike K just makes the move before they come into Maggots and Beckett's in Chapel. Gonna ride back on board of MMA Slash. He gets so very close to Lewis, but just can't make the move on Lewis yet. Lewis does have a penalty. MMA Slash does not. As we, in fact, let's bring up the detail right there for penalties. It's 5 seconds for Lewis. So Lewis is in trouble right now. He actually may get knocked off the, or he's going to lose a majority of the podium right there. In fact, he may lose the podium right there to BRT Mathias. He's not too far behind just yet. So MMA Slash in a bit of trouble right now unless MMA Slash gains a penalty, an egregious one at that. He would have to gain 2 of them. So it looks like MMA Slash just may take back the lead of the race. G-Force Swaggy, meanwhile, 3 seconds for him. BRT Mafia should be looking to make it a double podium for the Renault boys today. In fact, if Lewis cannot improve more, and if this does become a 5-second, we might be looking at a 1-2 for the Renault drivers after penalties. And oh no! XL Gary's had problems, and he goes down the 14th. And he has not had the kind of race that his Ferrari teammate has had. XL Gary down in 14th position. He's had a problem there as riding on board with Mark C. He's getting close to his teammate. Will he look for another move? We'll have to wait and see. MMA Slash. He's getting very close on this lap, and it's a safety car deployed. Cortez is out of the British Grand Prix, and that looks to be a crash at the end near Sector 2. And what a moment here. Lewis makes a pit stop in this race under safety car. And that is going to be a big scene here. There is a safety car on lap number 23 of 26. Can you believe what you are seeing here? Safety car deployed in the dying laps of the British Grand Prix in PlayStation GL Formula 5. I cannot believe what we are seeing here. Now, Lewis makes a pit stop onto the softs, but he's all the way down in 14th. I just don't agree with that pit stop at all. A very bad decision, in my opinion, from Lewis. I have no idea what he's thinking. He's got a penalty of 5 seconds weighing under him. He's just not going to make up the kind of progress I think he wants to make. I'm just have no understanding of that position whatsoever. To make that pit stop, that just doesn't make any sense. At least in my opinion. But we are under safety car, ladies and gentlemen. There are just 4 laps to go in this British Grand Prix. We may only have 2 laps of racing in this race. But there's still a few drivers who have to get up close. And Brandon Glover is now coming out of the pit lane. These drivers have to catch up. Now, we can't end under safety cars, so it's just going to be one final lap, possibly, maybe. This is very, very interesting. MMA Slash is getting rather close. And GeForce Swaggy getting rather close. They are not keeping a car's width for sure under this safety car. I don't understand. Drivers have to be just a little bit more cautious under safety car. Of course, if you hit somebody, that's just a 3-second time penalty you just didn't need. Now, if you're BRT Mathias, you'll be pretty happy about this one. It's looking to be a 1-2 for the Renault outfit here today. And that's going to be very nice for them in the Constructors' Championship. As we said, going into this race, Renault sits in 9th in the Constructors. But they'll be looking for a great result here today. Still under safety car on lap 24. We're going to see if we have the safety car come in